Hi, my name's Anne. My son Rory and I are wildlife rehabilitators. We've made this video in an effort to assist you as a new rehabilitator, and we'd also like for you to understand the level of commitment, focus, dedication and of course funding required to successfully rehabilitate, in this case, Australian herbivore waterbirds. Not all rehabilitation attempts are successful. Even the best carers will lose critters due to various circumstances. Now this can be overwhelming, particularly when you've made so much effort. But please always remember you're not on your own. There's good resources that can help you deal with any emotional stress you might encounter. We've listed some on the credits of this video. Don't be ashamed or embarrassed about a loss. It's all part of the learning process. Nobody knows everything, including us. Rehabilitators come in all shapes and sizes. That is, we've all had different experiences, and as individuals we have got our unique quirks and idiosyncrasies that work for us and may not work for others. So you get various feedback from different people. I've found that the trick is to look, listen and learn. Look by observing the critter's behaviour. Listen to every piece of advice that's given and learn about the critter. There's tons of videos and books available online. Then make your own judgment. Having said that, you might find that some of the information I've provided is not suitable for you, and that's fine. My reflections are based on my experiences. I hope you take them as part of your look, listen and learn routine. Congratulations and good luck.
Hi, I'm Rory. It's very important to replicate the bird's natural diet as much as possible to assist with a self-sustaining process, but it's not always feasible. The Australian shelduck, native hen and black swan are predominantly herbivores, surviving mainly on carbohydrates from grasses and low proteins for their early stage of life, the protein decreasing as they age on. The protein can be sourced by using a product such as Woombaroo insectivore rearing mix, and a good nutritional supplement is Woombaroo Passwell crumbles. The bird should always have access to grazing and water by day and night. At night, use a very shallow dish. Verify correct quantities and your specific breed. A general indication is: before 1 week of age, finely mashed eggs gently placed into the end of an open beak with tweezers. Be careful not to force feed. At 2 weeks of age, 2 scoops of rearing mix, 1 cup of chopped greens, 1 cup of Passwell crumbs. After 2 weeks of age, reduce the insectivore mix to 1 scoop after 2 weeks, increase the chopped greens and continue the cup of crumbles until the bird is 7 weeks old. At 7 weeks of age, increase the chopped greens, stop feeding the insectivore mix, but continue with the crumble. The carbohydrates can be sourced through a mixture of chopped lettuce, broccoli, spinach, clover and other greens including duckweed.
They should have access to grazing by day and access to a pond of sufficient size to stick their head and neck in. The sides of the pond should slope so that the bird can easily walk out. When young water birds can't easily exit a pond, they can become stressed, develop hypothermia and drown. Always supervise their playtime.
Feeding should be spaced throughout the day. Try hourly. We prepare the day's meals in the morning and keep it refrigerated until use. We never use out-of-date supplementary product because the nutritional value deteriorates with age. We always toss any leftover food at the end of the day. You want to keep things as fresh as possible. Spoiled food develops toxins that can kill a critter.
You'll find vets are as unique as rehabbers, so hunt around in your area for a vet who has particular interest in wildlife or birds. Get their contact details and keep them handy, because chances are if you need a vet, you'll need one now. Each critter's development is as individual as us, but as a general rule of thumb, wood ducks are ready to release at 2 to 3 months, swans at around 7 to 8 months, and native hens at around 11 to 12 months. Young water birds require supervision from sun up until sundown. After around 3 months, black swans should acquire a large pond area with green underwater growth. Basically, the water bird's routine is eat, drink, splash, clean, sleep. and this is continual throughout the day. Like all blooded critters, they need their vitamin D, so take their tub outdoors on a good day. Perhaps you have a small pond area that they can play in, but please do not leave them unsupervised. It does not take very long for a young bird to develop hypothermia and die. At night you may hear an occasional mild peeping sound. This indicates the bird's content. However, if the sound increases to a constant and louder peep, they need help. They're most likely experiencing cold and will probably resettle once more warmth is provided. Very young birds are best kept at night in a temperature-controlled environment like a quiet room in the house. We live in a harsh environment and we've learned not to rely on equipment or electricity. People have various methods of keeping their chicks heated. They can use heat lamps, wheat bags, heat pads or hot water bottles. All of these have their pros and cons. Now we prefer to use the Brinsea Eco Brooder, but we understand that that can be quite costly. So there's other options available, but they can take more time and effort. If your chick's too hot and you start to hear it peeping very feebly, and it's starting to go limp, the chances are that it's dehydrated and it's time to take action quickly. In an emergency, there's a product called Pedialyte that's a rehydration fluid used on children, human children. Now you can dilute that. We use boiled rainwater, put it in a dropper. Very calmly and gently run the dropper drop by drop along the side of the bird's beak. For very young chicks, you don't need big housing. We get tubs from the $2 shop, line them with towels, get used to washing. It's all part and parcel of the rehab process. When we wash, by the way, we wash at 60 degrees we've got a separate washing machine, and then we hang all the garments out to dry in the sun. That gets rid of most bugs. So you line the bottom of the tub with your towel. You'll keep the food down one end and the bedding and heating in the other. We line the top of the tub with fly wire, and we peg that down. We wrap the fly wire around and peg that down, because you'll be very surprised at how quickly they learn to jump. So, food and water in very shallow trays on one side and heat and bedding on the other. Make sure that the chick can get away from the heat, whether if you're using something like a hot water bottle or a heat pad, but it can still stay warm. Well, hopefully it's congratulations, you've made it through those first crucial weeks, but the bird's housing requirements have increased. So this is where the fun begins. If you keep it away from household noises, that helps for the critter to learn to become self-sustainable and avoid humanisation. We've created a small home that you might get some ideas from. It's got to be vermin proof, it's got to be warm at night, and it has to provide predator protection. They need ventilation, but make sure that too much wind, rain and cold can't get in, because they're still quite reliant on warmth at this stage. It's easy to make a very shallow pond to throw some native grasses and duckweed in. We've made some weighted concrete bowl holders to help minimise any spillage of water or feed. So you simply place the stainless steel bowl inside the holder. They're very easy to make. Dig up some fresh grass complete with the dirt and place it in the home.
If you love something, set it free. You will find that some water birds are flighty while others can become quite dependent as they grow. Dependence is something you should work to avoid. Please don't humanise your critter. You don't want your hard work to be set free without the skills to be self-sustainable. It's tough out there at the best of times. You can learn far more about a species if you watch it develop its own natural behavioural pattern, and this will help you progress as well. You will find if you don't spoil the animal, it will naturally develop to avoid you Once it avoids you entirely, it's time to leave it be. The first trick is to get a buddy if you only have one bird. This increases the bird's chances of survival dramatically, helps it become far less dependent on you, and is extremely beneficial to the bird's development of its natural behaviours. The Tasmanian Wildlife Management Board has a whiteboard that you can put name on with the species that you would like to buddy up with, and they'll do their best to assist you. We never release a critter on its own. You may need to be very resourceful here. The subject is a chapter all on its own. Some birds, like the native head, are very territorial.
We hope you find this video informative and we welcome any feedback. Good luck with your rehabilitation process, and we thank you for helping the environment.
Chop beans. Deteriorates with age.
Start again.
Clover.
Lettuce. Fucking shite. You did really well, but we'll start again.
Chop beans.